also accessible from smartphone and tablet as well.
So it's it's definitely easy to use while you're on the go because a lot of distribution centers, people are all over the place. So then resources, it's more the hands-on effect. So, we have the ability to govern the program like we were just identifying. And then it's employee benefits. So we go above and beyond the Affordable Care Act benefits. Not sure, are you familiar with what your current agencies are offering in terms of benefits for your workers?
I think it's just minimal.
Yeah, I mean, every one of them offers their own thing,
Yeah.
but contractually speaking, our blanket MSA says they're responsible for benefits.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Again, just on the back end,
oh, so sad.
just know on the back end, we're taking care of that above and beyond what's required. So outside of the ACA benefits, vision, dental, but we also have 401k with a $500 bonus at the end of the year, pet adoption reimbursement, pet insurance, gym discount. We do a 501c3 or a nonprofit match up to $5,000. So each individual contractor, if they want to give to a nonprofit, we will match dollar for dollar. Again, it's helping with getting the best people and making them feel a part of your organization while they're working at Best Buy.
We try and always encourage for anyone who uses the pet adoption reimbursement to send us a photo of their pet that they adopt as well, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, we actually did a survey not too long ago where we asked the question of, what can Target CW improve on or something like that, and somebody put a joke in there like, I'd like a puppy or something. So we actually went out and had stuffed animal puppies made and mailed them to people. So we do stuff like that just to, again, have some fun with people.
Just any stuffed animal?
It's our CEO's.
That's
Oh, that's so cute, that's not on your website,
Yeah.
adorable.
Yeah, you will see much more
So
of
this-
Cooper when we do our
I thought it was just a
destination
random
later.
stuffed animal.
No, of course not.
So we actually had the stuffed animal made. This is before the Cooper stuffed animal was
Oh,
made. Yeah,
that's
so we actually have
Cooper.
2. Yeah.
Got it.
So as we've been talking about the model or phase approach, this is where we find the hybrid model is really useful. So as Carter, you were saying, we just put you in that box. This is your solution not to be put in a box, right? So your program's not that big. You're trying to figure out where to get the organization consolidation and consistency. This is going to be it for you. So the phase approach is going to be, so phase 1, it's going to be your timekeeping consolidation and invoice consolidation. So your agencies are going to start sending their invoices to CW, timekeeping will be done through Web Center, and we will send you one consolidated invoice at the end of the month. Lego is actually one of our clients that uses this, and it's perfect for them. That's all they really need for their program. Model or phase 2 is where Staffing Nation becomes more heavily involved. We'll turn that VMS function on for you, and all job orders will start going out through Staffing Nation. Agencies will receive those, start working on them. You'll also get that KPI, or actually the vendor dashboard that has KPIs on there for you, so you'll get feedback on where your agency's spend is, their time to fill, are they even looking at the job recs, so you'll instantly get a better evaluation and idea on, is it worth having 15 vendors, and then we can work on potentially consolidating that for you. Avalara is one of our clients. Marissa and I actually just worked on together getting this implemented in. They actually were like, oh, phase 1 looks good. But once we identified their pain points, they're like, we have 30 agencies all over the place. They needed a little bit of hand holding along the way. So Marissa for 6 months is the next 6 months is like their dedicated resource, and they're at that phase 2 approach, really diving into that, helping them get a better understanding of their workforce, and then they might scale back down to a phase 1 approach. So it's where your team needs assistance in that season. That's what we want to create, that agility for you. And then phase 3 is more of your traditional MSP VMS model. So it's going to be 1 or 2 Target CW reps on site, or it could be an internally ran program. It could be a dedicated resource on your team's behalf. Target CW will govern all agencies, contracts, markup rates. So again, you're not getting that rogue spend that you all were discussing, and we'll be managing the KPIs to realize potential agencies out of the program if need be, or keep them up to date on scorecards. So we'll provide consistent feedback and compliance for you. So we'll do those monthly check-ins and meetings. If we're not on site, if we're there, obviously we can connect even more. But it's more of that hands-on approach, if you will. That being said, as you're kind of looking at this, where do you think you all are identifying with these different phases?
I want 3, but what are the disadvantages of 3? So each of these has to have its pros and cons.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me some
Yeah.
of the cons that your customers experience with phase 3?
Yeah, and in a traditional phase 3 type of approach, you're not getting that hands-on from Best Buy approach into your program. So you're potentially losing out on intellectual property or different agencies that could be good for your program, but you're not even getting the chance to see them depending on how your organization is setting that up and depending on the MSP model you're utilizing. But again, that's why it could be good for you to have your own personal on-site, because it's gonna cut your costs throughout not having somebody on site. It'll cut your costs and create more agility for you.
Yeah, but what are some of the disadvantages? Like, what are the things that we're sacrificing by doing phase 3?
So like I said, phase 3, you're not getting, you might not be needing that with the size that you have. So some disadvantages is you have too robust of a system where you don't have that need to have somebody on site or dedicated to your team on a daily basis, and it's gonna create more costs for you. And then it's not gonna give you, potentially not give you that full insight into your program.
Additionally, you might not have that human-to-human interaction / liaison who can communicate to all different agencies, the cultural and experience and the background that is really desired from within each candidate. I know sometimes the candidates get lost and they're not given feedback. They don't have that human liaison that can be offered in phase 2.
We're talking phase 3.
Yeah, that would be a disadvantage of phase 3, not having that
So you
liaison.
lose some of that by it not being a
Right.
Best Buy worker that they're dealing with?
No, I meant, you have that human within the MSP model. When you take it to like the full phase of VMS, it's mostly technology based. So you don't have that either Target CW or internal employee behind it all.
So you only get that with phase 3, you don't get it with phase 2 and 1, a dedicated person.
I believe that's.
You do get the technology with all 3 phases. The hands-on approach or the dedicated resource comes within the phase 3 model. And actually, if you want to go to the next slide, yeah, so it gives you more of a picture. So phase 1 is that consolidation again, and timekeeping and invoicing. Then the next phase is creating the job order management functionality within Staffing Nations, turning on the switch of VMS. And then it dives more in depth into Target CW, managing the agencies, or again, if it's internally managed. But so it's gonna have that MSP or the person dedicated to it, but it's all encompassed or housed within Staffing Nation. Does that make sense for you guys? Are you kind of?
I don't necessarily know that we are clear on which model is the best for us and the cost implications.
So based off of the information that you all have looked at, it's actually very similar to our client Avalara, where you have these agencies, you have some potential rogue spend, you have workers all over the place. You're basically looking for consolidation and the cost savings like you all had mentioned. So phase 2 is actually a great approach to that because it gives you the flexibility of having somebody. You had mentioned that you wanted to manage this program yourself, so it creates that for you. You potentially get Marissa to work with you all, getting new things implemented, create processes and workflows, and then we could even scale back after that. but that's just that's based off of what we've seen as an organization. Alright. And then next we have our promises. So no matter what phase approach you get, these are our promises and what we're dedicated to as an organization for your team. No matter the phase, we want to create constant alignment, clear communication, and consolidation for you, and that can all be accomplished within either phase or season of your program. We want to be completely vendor agnostic because we've been in programs where we're not treated fairly per se, and we understand what it's like to be outlandish or forgotten about organization where we get the last pick of job candidates or job recs. So we will work closely with your agencies in a very fair manner. And then finally, it's your people, so we'll work with you, again, in the phase 2 approach specifically. It would be you all running the program. We wanna work closely with you in that. And then you're gonna get to retain all IP that way and really getting to own your program. But it's gonna be that constant running machine in the back end to where you can work with it as much as or as little as you need. Does that make sense for you all? Cool. So in our last couple minutes, I know we're tight on time, but wanted Marissa just to give you a really fast overview. Like I said, we're gonna schedule a Staffing Nation demo with you in the next couple of weeks. So this is our tool, Staffing Nation.
Yeah, so, and again, we can schedule and go into a really robust and nitty-gritty sort of demonstration during our next phone call. And I'd love to also get all the necessary stakeholders together so that we can go through an assessment guide to really identify which phase would work best for you. So which things that you'd like to continue to maintain and which stuff you're, hey, keep it out of sight, out of mind, Target CW can run it, that's fine with us. But no matter what program or phase you choose, you'd be given access to Staffing Nation. So again, this is our proprietary contingent workforce management tool. So this is just a quick little snapshot of some of the widgets, as well as the onboarding and new hires that are associated with your population at Target CW. So you'd be able to see some of your orders. This is where you can see some of the candidates that might have been submitted to you during the VMS program. So you could take a look at your candidates, check out their resumes. You can give notes to these people. You could say, no, thank you. And this would be a comment over to that supplier group so that they can see, not interested in Kiwi Lemony, or else you could actually hire that candidate or go through the interview process. It's very easy to use, it's totally intuitive, and again, we've designed this with some of the feedback that our clients have given us.
And before you actually leave that page, this is also where there's actually a track field worker view. So any SOWs, 1099s, international workers, we want it to be your one housing stop shop for all of those workers. We might not be the employer of record for these workers, but it gives you that organization for those workers in this tool, so you can track their start and end dates, things like that in there, even though we're not taking on the liability for them per se.
Yeah. So you'd be able to see your 1099s here, as Jason just mentioned, as well as your international folks. But again, everything is actually very sortable and customizable. So if you wanted to take a look at all of your workers that are under one particular vendor, or maybe you're not interested in some of the options that are here on this Kendo grid, you can actually pick and choose what things you'd like to see, what information you'd like. And this is all sortable and exportable into a real life Excel document so that you can distribute that amongst your team. So Jan, I know that's probably music to your ears so that you can send that over to your folks. But you'd also, Car, be able to see some of the documents that are associated with all of your workers. So you'd be able to go through here and make sure that they had signed off on your code of conduct, or maybe get a copy of their offer letter. Or as time needed it as well, you could maybe add things after the fact and show that this worker has a new document to upload. So maybe they signed a new offer letter or got a new code of conduct that they signed.
Yeah, so just some considerations as you all continue to identify your direction and how you want to move forward with your program. Just keep in mind, like you had mentioned, traditional MSP models strap you into their box essentially. We want to come in and help you where you are and create best practices around that. So we want to work with you on that. So finally, next steps, we wanted to see what, or talk to you about your timeline and implementation roadmap. Obviously, we can talk about the roadmap in the coming weeks, but when would you be looking to implement a program like this?
Probably second Q of 2019 is our goal.
Okay.
But we just don't know what to implement. But I mean, I think we'll talk about some of the different things that we.
Yeah, we can definitely work with you too on realistic timelines and what that looks like. We have very quick turnarounds on things, but depending on where you are, what functionalities you want us to take on, we can give you those realistic expectations.
Like Q3, we're pretty much heavy into, the seasonal recruiting.
Yeah, we
So
didn't have it
what is the
anywhere.
implementation timeline if we did start in Q2?
Yeah, so for those workers, it's really quick turnaround. We can definitely have that all set up for you by Q3, ready to go. And even if, let's say you have workers from last year that you already know, if you wanted to send those to us in an Excel spreadsheet, we can upload those workers into the system for you, so you're not having to do that, and it'll automatically send out offer letters. So your turnaround is really quick for that type of stuff.
So we're at our hard stop.
Are there any other questions that you guys had for us or any other items that we didn't tackle during this phone call?
That's okay.
I think we're good.
No, we're good.
Good.
Thank you.
Yay, thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Why? Jason has to ask a
No
question.
Model 3, what were you looking for?
I'll explain it to you guys in a
Yeah.
minute.
Okay.
We do the feedback right
Yeah,
now.
we did the feedback right now.
So-
You get instant gratification.
Time to devour food.
Yep.
That's what we got. Either way.
Please.
Good start. C-Chart Plus, obviously, as a butcher, these are really, really good. I don't know if it is a good idea to give them before or after, to be completely honest with you. We've never given them at a presentation. So I don't know if people would finger through them and not pay attention or not. I feel like that's one of the things that everybody goes back and forth on. That's a side note, has nothing to do with you guys.
Yeah. Just,
Agenda intros are decent. I love the felt supported and understood by Marissa. Your communication for the most part was spot on, girl, so tip my hat to you. But she has communication as a strength, so it's really not fair.
But I said at this phone call.
Yeah, I know, at the end, everything was right on, then at the end,
Can we just stop recording?
yeah, exactly. Oh, let me pause it here. You do that. I like that